everyone, this is Georgia with Georgia's Crafty Creations, and today I'm coming to you with part 2 of my video series as a challenge from May's design team. We were challenged to see how many cards we could make from one paper pack. Now the paper pack I chose was a Perfect Winner by Lori Whitlock. If you saw my verse video, you know that. But I wanted to show you that. And in my first video, I got 10 of my cards made. I did most of my squares yesterday. I only have one square left, which we're going to start with that today. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one we're going to do is a square card. This is a medium square, and it's a piece of cardstock 9.5 by 4 3/4 inches, scored at 4 3/4 inches. Now you're also going to need a white square that is 4.5 inch square. And I went ahead and I've already stamped There's No One Like You for this one. I also, out of a scrap piece of my paper, I had a sleigh punch, and I punched a little sleigh just to put on the inside as a trim. Then you're also going to need a red square, which is 4.5 inches. And then you're going to need a pattern square that is 4.5 inches. And I used my 2 1/4 inch hole punch to cut out a circle. And from that circle, I used my scallop punch, which is 1.5 inch scallop, to cut a little one with words, which is going to be our sentiment, which we're going to put on top of a black circle, which I also cut with my hole punch. And then for this one, we're going to use these 2 little snowmen for this card. So we're going to get these colored, and then we'll assemble the card. Okay, so now we can get our card assembled. I'm going to go ahead and on the inside, I'm going to be using my art glitter glue again today. We're just going to go ahead and get our inside put in. And I got that one a little bit crooked, but we're going to fix it. And be sure, if you get any glue that comes out the side, to wipe that off before you close your card so that your card doesn't stick. And then next we're going to put our mat on. That one I got a little off, so I'm going to just shift that a little bit. That's better. And now for our 2 little snowmen, I want to put them in our little circle with just part of them peeking out. And I just got to figure out where I want to put him, and this one needs a little trimmed off his belly. And I want them holding hands again. I think right there is where I want to put them. So I'm going to flip them over. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a little glue underneath to put them where I want them. And then I'm going to go ahead and put glue all over the back, and we'll get it put on our card. That should do it. I want to be careful. I don't want to slide my snowmen around. Oh, and I like them peeking out of the little circle. And again, these snowmen are from the Snowed Out stamp set. And then I want to pop this one up, so I'm going to grab my foam squares. I'm going to use 2 on this. And on this one, I'm not using a stamped sentiment on the outside. I thought we just used a little circle. Oop. And I think I want to put it about right there. Then we're going to take our little scallop circle that we cut out. And also, once again, I don't want to put it perfectly center. I like to put things offset. And then we're going to put our little sleigh on the inside. My little sleigh is a little hard to pick up. There we go. And we're just going to put our sleigh right down at the bottom, kind of angled a little bit. I'm going to press that down and get the glue off. And then once again, I want to do my shimmer mist on all my cards. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that today because I'm running low on shimmer mist. I may just have to get some more and finish those later, but we're going to do it until it runs out. And there we go. There's card number 11. And I like it. I love the little snowmen. Now this time I did use the red that looked a little pinky because I wanted to look like a couple. And that shimmer is just so nice. So let's go on to card number 12. The rest of the cards are going to be A2 size cards. So this one is 4.5 by 11, scored at 5.5. And for this, you're going to need 2 white pieces that are 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I've already got Merry Christmas stamped on my one for the inside. And we're also going to put that little circle on the inside. And then you're also going to need one that is, and I didn't measure this one, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I did my 2 1/4 hole bunch up here at the top. And on this one, we're going to use the bigger snowman for the snow peaking. So I'm going to get him colored real quick and then we'll get this card assembled. Okay, let's get this card assembled. I did an extra scarf and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I wish I would have thought of it on some of the cards yesterday. But we're going to go ahead and get our inside mat put first. And again, the Merry Christmas is from Celebrate the Season stamp set. And we're going to put that little circle just right down here at the bottom for a decoration. I mean, with the scraps from the 6x6 paper pad, you could just put little things on the inside, or you could also use them to decorate your envelopes. When I make my envelopes for these cards for the giveaway, I'm going to use scraps for the envelopes to decorate them. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my white mat put down. Looks pretty good. And then that's where our snowflake mat is going to go. And then we're going to put this little guy, and actually I want him angled, kind of down in. That looks good. I'm going to flip him over, and once again we're going to put a little glue to hold him where I want him. And we're going to take and get our mat put down. That looks good. And then what we're going to do with his little scarf is we're going to glue that right on top, just to make it coming out of the circle there. On this one, I kind of wish I had stamped some snowflakes on here, which I still might. I'm not going to take time to do it now, but it feels like it needs a little more there. And then we're going to use the snow peaking sentiment. And this is my last snow peaking I have stamped, so that's going to be the last one we use, and we're going to use the rest. There's Snow One Like You if we need a sentiment. Yep, in hindsight, I think what I wish I would have done is used a white card base for this one, and then the teal for the background. And we're just going to put that right down at the... And I put glue on this. I don't want glue. See, if you mess up, you just stop and correct what you need to do. I wanted to put that one on foam squares and pop it up. Another idea, which sometimes when you're creating you think of it, and because I'm doing this for so many for one video, I don't want to go back and do it. But what you can do is you could take a piece of your scrap and stamp just the scarf, or stamp part of the snowman, cut the scarf off, and give him a patterned scarf and mittens would make it really cute. But I don't think I'm going to put shimmer mist on this one yet, because I do want to go back and put some little snowflakes in here. Just something to take away that stark white. There we go. Okay, so there's card 12, Snow Peaking. Okay, our next card is going to be an A2 size card. This one is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then you're going to need 2 teal pieces that are 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, or your color, depending on what colors you're doing for your card. You're going to need 1 white 5 1/4 by 4 with a sentiment, and I already have the Celebrate the Season sentiment on that. That's also from Celebrate the Season stamp set. Then you're going to need a pattern piece, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And then you're going to need 3 of your solid strips. And these are 3 different sizes. One is 4 by 1 1/4, 4 by 1 1/8, and then 4 by 7/8. And then we also have the snowman pattern again in snowflakes. This one is 1 by 4. I have to figure out which is which. I think these are the same size. These are 3/4 by 4 inches. And then from the sentiment page, I just cut out this little strip that had winter wishes on it, and that's going to be our sentiment. And then I have this little snowman, which I'm not sure where we're going to use him yet. We're just going to get this put together. I'm going to get the inside put together and the front mat, and then we'll get to what we're going to do with the strips. Okay, we're going to take our little strips and put them onto the mats first. Okay, I did one a little wider just because I didn't want these both exactly the same size. Then we're going to take our 'Tis the Season to Be Freezing, and we're going to put it about midway on the card. And I'm just trying to decide if I want these popped up or not, which I don't think I do. We're just going to do this one flat. And it doesn't have to be exactly in the center. And then I'm going to take my bigger one, and I think I'm going to put it toward the top. And take the smaller one and put it toward the bottom. And this one was one where I just used leftover strips of the snowman paper and put it just on a mat to use some of them up. And it's okay that these are not evenly spaced. I didn't want them evenly spaced. And then we're going to take one of our little snowmen, and I'm going to grab, now this I am going to pop up. We're just going to grab a few little pop dots. I'm going to stick him right on the front. Then we're going to open our card. We're going to take this little extra strip I have cut and put it toward the bottom. And I'm going to take this this Winter Wishes, and we're just going to put it right at the bottom right here. I might even take it down below it. I think we're going to take it down below. You know what? Nope, I don't want to put that in there. We're going to leave that off. We're just going to put our little snowman in. And we're going to put him over here to the right. And that one I like. We're going to grab our shimmer mist. Find where I set it. I'm just going to give it a couple light sprays. Oh, I love, love, love the shimmer. And another thing you could do, you could cut out some of the snowmen and pop them up. But I just liked them, some of my cards flat. So that is card number 13. And now we're on to card 14. This is, again, an A2 size card. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then for this one, you're going to need a red piece that is 5 1/8 by 4 1/8. You're going to need a strip of pattern paper. Again, this is a leftover piece. It's 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then I also have the bear pattern on the other side. It's a stripe. This is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. It has that little hole, but we're going to cover that up, so that's not a problem. And then I just stamped a Merry Christmas on some red and embossed it, which we're going to use on the inside. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, so we're going to do that last. Now for the front, we're going to take the 2 pattern pieces, and I'm going to put the one with my bears to the top and the candy stripe to the bottom. And then for this one, I haven't done this on any of my cards yet, but we're going to on this one. I'm going to take a piece of ribbon and we're going to put it right down the middle here. And for my ribbon, I like to use double-sided tape because I just like that it sticks better. And also in my scraps, I was debating what we're going to do on the front of this, but I know what we're going to do. I have this extra little square of these. I think we're just going to pop that right on the front. Except I think I want to do a piece of red behind rather than white. Looks good. I'm just debating if I want anything. Actually, I think we're going to go with that one the way it is. I kind of like just the simplicity of it. And then figure out how we want to do our Merry Christmas inside. And I think we're just going to do it right at the top like that. Just seeing if I have any more of that bear material, or bear paper. That's why I keep my scraps handy too. So if you want something that's on a card, if you have a piece and you can use it, but I don't see one. So we're just going to go with the Merry Christmas inside. But you know what? I think we're going to just angle it a little bit. Not much, because I want to keep it the size it is. Keep it inside the card. I think I like it. There we go. So we're going to spray this one too. I think that's good. So on to the next card. Okay, again, it's an A2 size card. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This one, there's a little more to it. I'll try to show you how I did this, which I think I can. But we have 2 teal pieces, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Our center is, or inside is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have another teal piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. Just trying to figure out which one that is. It would be this one because we're going to build our top with it. Now what I did with this one is I took the paper that had the diagonals on it, and I just picked one of the diagonals and I started cutting these apart at approximately 1 inch apart. Try to get them in order so I can show you the paper before it was cut. It's like putting a puzzle back together. There we go. So I just started cutting these, and I cut it about 1 inch apart. Some were a little less or a little more than 1 inch. And then to put this on the card, what we're going to do is flip the strips. So we have 2 patterns. The 2 center ones we're going to leave the same, but then we're going to flip the next one over. Or did I flip? Let's see. Yeah, we can flip that one. I'm just going to have to trim a little tip off. We're going to go ahead and do that. But you want to lay this out the way you want it on your paper before you start gluing it down. Oh, we want to flip that one. And then what I did was I cut a piece of teal paper the exact same size for us to have to glue these on. So now that I have those laid out the way I want them, we're going to start gluing them on. Okay, sorry about that, but my camera cut out. What I did is I finished gluing the strips on. I glued them on the mat, and then glued the mat on the card. And I was getting ready to put my sentiment on the inside. I glued my sentiment down when my camera shut off. Well, it shut off before that. I just didn't realize it. But all you missed was just the rest of the gluing and putting the sentiment in. Now, for the front, we're going to do 2 of these little snowmen and pop them up off the page. And we're going to use one of their Snow One Like You sentiments. So I'm going to get these guys colored. Okay, let's get these guys where we want them to go. I think I want them right down on the bottom, like that. But we are going to pop these ones up. So I'm going to flip them over. this one came out a little crooked, but it makes it more look like a sign. So we're going to leave it that way, and we might also put a little signpost in like we did the one yesterday. Yeah, we're going to angle that a little bit. Probably should have done this first, but it's okay. And put a little glue on this. Just a little bit to hold it on. And then I'm going to tuck it down in their hands a little bit. Push that down. And I'm okay that it's not flat on the paper. We're going to leave it right like that. I like it. I was beginning to wonder if I was going to like this one, but I do. So far, there's only been one out of the 19 that I wasn't crazy about how it turned out. Okay, I think I like it. There's no one like you. We're going to get on to the next one. We're getting there. We only have, let's see, 1, 2, we have 4 cards left. Now the next one is one of those that you start one way and it ended up another. I started this card to be an A2 size card. I cut this one at 8.5 by 5.5 and then scored it at 4 1/4. But when I was making my decorative edge, which I used a Martha Stewart edge punch to do, I messed up a little bit and I ended up cutting the card down. So this finished card is actually going to measure, it's 4 1/4 still. Well, it's 4 1/4 by 4. So it's not an A2 size card, it's smaller, but you work with what you have. And then also for this, you need a teal piece or color piece, 3.5 by 5. Then my sentiment piece is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then I have 2 strips of pattern paper. These are 2 by 5 1/4. And then I also have one of the sentiment strips. It says Winter Wishes, which will be trimming that down. I have a piece of Let It Snow ribbon. And then for this one, I used my 2 1/4 inch punch, and I just punched this partial way. Get it how you like it, but I just wanted that. We're going to set that down right above the ribbon. And then of course we're going to use our no peeking snowman or snow peeking. And then I also cut a hat and scarf because we're going to do similar to what we did on the other card. So I'm going to color those real quick and then we're going to assemble it. Okay, now for our front. We want to lay this out first because I want to put this snowman behind this one. And I'm going to kind of angle him, not a lot. We're going to put him to this side. So that's where I want my snowman. So I'm going to turn this over. Actually, I want him a little lower because I want his scarf down in there. More like that. Okay. And flip that just to make sure he's where I want him. Yep. And we can go ahead and glue this piece to the bottom. Actually, I don't want glue on the top of him yet. Now, we're going to go ahead and put glue on the back of this too, so we can get this placed. This is going to be the tricky part. I shouldn't have put glue on the top of my snowman. I'm going to get that bottom lined up first. And then before that snowman dries, I'm going to lift him up and get this piece slid in. There we go, right like that. Nope, and that one slid a little bit. No, we're good. Okay, now I'm going to take my Let It Snow, and I'm going to be trimming this off, so I want to put it exactly where I want it. Think about right there. And this I am going to use art glitter glue because and I'm going to put the glue on my paper. Because that way I have my ribbon exactly where I want it. I'm going to do it right there. I'm going to press this down real good. Yeah. And I'm going to let that dry before I trim it off. And then I'm going to pull it up for a minute. I forgot my sentiment. I wanted to poke the sentiment right in there. And we're just going to poke that right down in. There we go. And I'm okay that this is overlapping his scarf. I want it to do that. Okay, now let's see if that will stick or if I'm going to need a little more glue now. Okay, we're just letting that set for a minute to get that glued. And then I'm going to take his scarf and I'm going to glue it over the ribbon. Except they put him down a little too far. Well, we're going to go with it now. I have him a little bit too far down. My ribbon's going to poke up a little on my scarf. Oh, we'll just turn it a little bit. Maybe we can do that. There we go. And then his hat, I think we're going to take and put it on a pop dot or some pop dots just to have it stick up a little bit. We're going to pop his little hat up off the page just to give a little dimension. And let's see if that's, yep. We can go ahead and trim our ribbon off. I kind of like him. Then I'm just debating if we want to use this on the inside or just save it. I think we'll save that for another card. So, let me grab my spritz. That may be the last card I can spray. I think I just ran out. But I'll spray the rest of them before the giveaway. So there is that one. Really cute. Another cute snowman. I think we're down to just 2 cards left. No, 3. 3 cards. Okay, this one's going to be a little more detailed. Well, not really detailed. It's just I want to do a couple extra things with it. This is a A2 card again. And this one is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 because I wanted this to be a top opening. And then you need 2 of your solid pieces, and this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then this is a 4 by 5 1/4 pattern piece that I laid in my cutter, and I put each point into the valley where it would cut, and I just cut it diagonally. We're going to use one on the inside and one on the outside, and then we're going to use a Winter Wonderland for this. And we're going to use, this is my last little guy like this, we're going to use the Snow Peaking Snowman. So before we get started, what I want to do is I want to take one of my colored pieces, and I'm using a Doris embossing folder. It kind of has a snowflake pattern. And I'm going to do both of my pieces of colored cardstock right where it would do that around the edge. And I want this full corner, so I'm going to pull it down a little bit. And what I like about this, what I'm hoping it's going to do, I haven't tried it, is when I put my snowman in, that this is going to frame around my snowman. Oh, I like that. This is going to be really pretty. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the one on the inside. Well, I've got to decide which one we're using on the outside first, or which way we're going to go with this. Okay, this is going to be our outside piece. So this one I'm going to go ahead and layer to put on the inside. We'll do that first. This is the paper that had owls on the other side. I originally was going to do the owls, but again, I changed my mind. And on this, you want to make sure and really press down on the embossed area so that your glue holds to that. And what's nice, again, the glue will dry clear. So we're going to put that on the inside. I'm not sure I'm going to put a sentiment in this one. I think this one you could put your own sentiment in, because I'm not sure what I want to go with it. So to just be a decorative, nice inside, you could stamp a sentiment like right here. Now, we need to get our snowman colored real quick. Okay, so now we're ready to put this one together. And I think how we're going to have him, I want to see how this, oh yeah, that's going to frame him nicely. I like it. I'm just thinking a minute, I might want, nope, we're just going to leave it right like that. I like it. So I'm going to go ahead, hold him there. Oh, and I don't have much there. We're just going to tape him on the back where we want him. I think it'd be easier than gluing that little piece. I'm going to lay him down here again. I think Look, right there is where we want him. Yep, that's good. So we can get this piece glued on. Now I guess you could leave this pocket open for a gift card too, but I'm not going to on this one. Oh, I like this. And then when you put that shimmer on here, that is going to be gorgeous. And then I think what I'm going to do with the Winter Wonderland is actually we're going to glue it on right there. And then we're going to take and we're just going to trim the edges off of there. And this also is just one of the strips from the paper pack. There we go. And once again, the art glitter glue will dry clear. And go ahead and trim that off. And trim that one off, and we'll just leave those. My fingers are getting sticky. I didn't know if I would like that, but I think I do. And like I said, we can leave the inside, just wondering. Wonder if we should, no, that's too much. We're going to leave that blank so you can add whatever sentiment you want on it. And I was going to alternate it, but I like having the snowflake up in the same corner. So let's see if I have enough spritz to spritz this one. I don't know if I do or not. Hi everybody, I was putting all my videos together to get this last one up, and of course everything was going smoothly, everything recorded but one card. Evidently my camera, I hit the button, it didn't come on, so I'm just going to have to explain how I did the card. And let me find it here. It's what I call a quilt card. Now for this card you need a base, which is an A2 size base, and this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, so it is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card. You'll need a red piece for the red mat for the inside, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. The white mat is 4 by 5 1/4, and that's pretty easy. You just layer your mats and put them on the inside. I have not put a sentiment in this card yet. Then for the front, for your base, your red mat is going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then you'll have a pattern base, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now the sentiment I used was a sentiment from one of the pages again, and that is just raised up on foam squares. But then for our quilt, there's 3 layers here. The red layer is a 3 1/2 inch square. Then your pattern layer is 3 1/4 inch square. And then for the centerpiece, it's what my mom always called a 9-patch quilt, is I have 9 squares. They're all 1-inch squares. And I used the paper that was red on this side and the flower on this side. But these are all 1-inch squares, and then I just flip and do 5 squares with the pattern and then 4 squares with the red. And I glued those on to a 3-inch white square so that it's easier to put on. But once I glue it onto the white square, before I glue it onto the mats, I take that and emboss it. And with this one, I just embossed with like little polka dots. And then after that was done, I squared it up, and then I layered it onto the pattern paper and then onto the red. And then I put it on to my base with foam squares. And I did it so it's pretty solid so it doesn't come off. Again, I am sorry you don't get to see how this one was put together, but I don't have any more of the paper like this, so I can't really put it together for you. I do have another quilt card I had been planning for a video, so I will try to get that video done next and get it up so you'll see how to do the quilt card in that video. But again, I apologize. So after this card, we're going on to card 19. Okay, so we're down to card number 19. Now this is a card that I used a sample to do the scraps. I'll show you again. This is still all strips from that paper pad. Plenty to do a few more cards. I'm not going to do those now. I'm just doing one as a sample with the scraps, but I think I could probably get another, I'd say at least 4 to 5 cards out of this. But also I want to use it to decorate the envelopes. So that's why you save your scraps, because you can find a use for them. So this is one made using the scraps. Now again, it's an A2 size card. This one is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 because I wanted to open it up. I did Merry Christmas for the inside of this one, but again, I messed it up, so I just flipped it over, stamped the other side. I have 2 color mats. These are 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. The white piece with the sentiment was 5 1/4 by 4. And then again, I have a strip that has about the cold cozy nights, warm blankets, and hot cocoa. I want to use that sentiment on here. And then I just have a couple strips of the flower paper, which it's red on the other side. And then I have the owls or the snowflake, but we're going to use the owls for this one. Now again, this is just scraps. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my front mat and I'm going to lay this out how I want it. I want my owls in the middle, I know that. But I just got to get this kind of laid out so I know where to glue down at. Okay, I think I've got it. So maybe it'd be nice to have a piece apart. Yeah, I think we will do a piece. So I'm going to cut a piece of ribbon and put on here. It's just going to be a little ribbon poking through, but oh, and I didn't plan that, but I love that little owl looking right above. Now this is a more simple card, but it goes to show use your scraps, because the good thing about a paper pack, the 6x6, all the papers coordinate. So even if you don't think they go together, I think they do. So there you have it. There is today's cards. And we have to spritz a couple. But I got a total of 19 cards, which I'm happy with. Out of one 6x6 paper pack. So, a couple things. If you like this video, like and subscribe below. If you make any of these cards, be sure and share them over on Maymay Made It. Or if you take a 6x6 paper pack and make a whole group of cards out of one paper pack, show us what you make. We'd love to see what you're making. And also share on my Facebook page, which is George's Crafty Creations. And the second thing, I ended up with 19 cards, and I will be making envelopes to go with them, and hopefully decorating the envelopes just a little bit. Won't be a lot, but just a little bit. So, I already have my Christmas cards for this year. So I decided, since this was a challenge, that I would give away the cards that I made. So I have 19 cards, which will go to one person. There will be a link below to go sign up or enter the giveaway. I'm doing it on Rafflecopter, and it's going to start October 25th at midnight, and it will go through November 15th at midnight. And I will pick a winner after November 15th and get these into the mail, so you'll have them by the end of November. And this is open internationally too, because I have a lot of friends over in England and different places in the world. So everybody can enter. And once I get pictures of all the cards, I might do another short little video just about the contest. So I hope you like this. It was fun doing this. It was fun seeing how much I could do out of one paper pack. So have a great day, everybody. And remember, happy crafting!